Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Gemini May 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing up is as far as May goes, the Sun will be in Taurus from the 1st until the 20th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So for Gemini at this time, this could be about concentration of energy, focus, and attention into matters connected with solitude, hidden adversaries, restrictions, limitations, privacy, even helping those that are less fortunate than others, such as the impoverished, the oppressed, and homeless. Now, this could be done with a lot of ponderous, premeditative energy, very methodical and a very persistent energy as well. It could also be shining the light, so to speak, on perhaps Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant hidden adversaries, or it could be ones that simply embody Taurus-like characteristics. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, as far as May goes, the Sun will be in Gemini from the 20th until the 31st. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time, Gemini might feel very vibrant, have much vitality and energy at this time, and putting it into maybe manifold things, as Gemini is very multifaceted and versatile. There could be a very strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention put into new beginnings, early childhood friend perhaps, their appearance, their outlook, and making that first impression, and doing so with a lot of vivaciousness and animation, very lively manner, and spirited manner as well. But at the same time, Gemini needs to be careful about spreading oneself too thin. This, as they often do, as this could also be done rather superficially as well. But when you're talking about the Sun in the first house, this is where a lot of people just want to shine in general and really stand out. And Gemini is not one to, Gemini could be very gregarious, but they're usually not one that just want to be like, oh, the life of the party, so to speak. But this could be a time where they may really show that side. So anyway, and the new beginnings could be many. They might want to start many new beginnings, Gemini, but they have to be careful because Gemini has a lack of persistence, as many of you may know. So anyway, next thing up is the new moon will be in Taurus on May 15th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Gemini, well, this could be a time where Gemini might actually rekindle a Taurus-like relationship. It could be with an actual Taurus Sun, Moon, or Ascendant aunt or uncle, or it could actually be one that embodies Taurus-like characteristics. Remember, the 12th house can be aunts and uncles because it represents the dominant parents, which is often the father's siblings. So also, too, could be a new period for Taurus to show a lot of persistence, perseverance, and patience in private related matters and in weeding out hidden adversaries as well. Sometimes patience can be a virtue in matters like those, and sometimes it just might be about letting them slip, those hidden enemies slip up, so to speak. Could also be a new period for Taurus, really a lot of laborious and persistent effort in seclusion and matters behind the scenes. It could be about maybe a formulation of a money-making matter where it's done in a lot of in really a very private outlet. So anyway, and it could be even a Taurus-like thing that may be done in private. It could be something connected with finance, or some position that could be Taurus, like cultivation, guarding, something where Gemini might be by themselves to some degree, or they find some solitude and seclusion in doing so. Anyway, next thing up is, well, the full moon will be in Sagittarius on May 29th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, Well, Gemini might really become tired and full and exasperated at this time of perhaps a very foolhardy, overly voracious, flighty, blunt, even unreliable significant other, marriage partner, or even someone they may be in a business partnership with. Or it could be somebody they know that's prominent in some legal field. This could be, too, in some cases where it could be the culmination or conclusion of a Sagittarius-like project that you collaborated with someone on. It could be something connected, as an example, with publishing, sports, maybe something connected with exploration or adventure, a long journey. Also, too, it could be about the expression of very full, exuberant, enthusiastic, and really expansive emotional energy into dealing with legal matters, and also open adversaries as well, and very positive, and a lot of positive energy as well. I mean, Sagittarius is the sign connected with good luck. It could be very fortuitous for a conclusion of a legal matter or a battle with an open adversary or somebody in a courtroom. Anyway, next thing up is Mercury will be in Aries from, as far as May goes, from the 1st until the 13th. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about very outspoken, forthright, aggressive, and assertive communications with friends, with acquaintances, people that they are involved in groups with. It could be, too, where Gemini might express a lot of pioneering, original ideas in groups and organizations at this time with their friends, but they also might be mentally impatient with people that are connected with that 11th house. And it could be about really strong original ideas, pioneering ideas for the future for Gemini, and speaking very directly and being very forthright about what they want to do as well. They might come across a little bit more abrupt and maybe even a little bit abrasive in speech with their friends and acquaintances at this time, though. Anyway, next thing up is, well, as far as May goes, Mercury will be in Taurus from the 13th until the 29th, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about learning and assimilating knowledge, perhaps by things being demonstrated by a video, film and video in seclusion, perhaps in solitude. Could be very private learning at this time, just learning where you're by yourself and you have no distractions. There's nothing extraneous blocking anything out, and no distractions. This could also be about a lot of talk in seclusion, privacy, and really about helping those less fortunate than yourself, such as the homeless, the impoverished, the oppressed. You might be a little bit less loquacious and talkative at this time as well. And remember that Mercury could also be about siblings. So it could be where you might have a Taurus, a Taurus sibling, a Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant sibling, or sibling that may embody Taurus-like characteristics. Might kind of go a little out of view for a little bit, might be a little bit distant, considering we're talking about the 12th house. And 12th house is, of course, about restrictions and limitations. This could also be, the way this could manifest is perhaps communication with hidden adversaries, and you might not even realize that you may be even talking to them as well, because they may be hidden, but you may actually be talking to them, and doing so with a lot of that real deliberate, methodical, slow Taurus-like communication. Anyway, next thing up is Mercury will be in Gemini from May 29th until the 31st as far as May goes. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Gemini, well, Gemini might be more loquacious and talkative than usual, which of course could be almost garrulous, and talk about perhaps manifold things regarding the self and improving the physical body. Gemini might be thinking about doing, many different exercises, weightlifting equipment, etc., to enhance or improve the physical body, because Gemini, of course, is about variety. And also, it's really about talking about new beginnings. But remember, Gemini energy could be very loquacious and talkative. Make sure it's not just about talking about new beginnings, but actually executing the new beginnings. I don't mean like an actual execution, but I mean following through on them. Now, and also too, it could be that maybe you might have some people from your early childhood that were prominent in that might be very inquisitive, and you might find that they're asking a lot of questions about this time regarding yourself. So it also might be more conversations with those people. Anyway, next thing up is, well, as far as May goes, Venus will be in Gemini from the 1st until the 19th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about really a lot of enjoyment of intellectual stimulation, and it really may come across on a first impression to a lot of people. This could be making money, or really spending money, I should say, on manifold things pertaining to self, to the physical body, to the appearance, making a first impression, maybe giving a more youthful complexion or countenance at this time. This could be about showing a very strong love of oneself. And it could be, too, that Gemini might wind up dating maybe even two people simultaneously, or maybe a Gemini, or it could be even just be one Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or someone that embodies Gemini-like characteristics. At this time, it could be somebody that was prominent in one's early childhood, or it could really help Gemini focus on initiating new beginnings. So anyway, the thing about it, and also looking at this as well, well, the next thing I want to get at is that Venus, as far as May goes, will be in Cancer from the 19th until the 31st. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about strong enjoyment of nurturing one's possessions and resources, and anything of a monetary nature at this time. It could be about valuing love, of reminiscing and introversion and home, things that are home related at this time, and put a lot of value into this. Money might be made at this time, perhaps through some kind of home renovation, remodeling. All the enjoyment connected with family matters could really, and expressing love and receiving love from family perhaps, could be where could help Gemini at this time, perhaps in self-esteem and self-worth at this time. It could also be where Gemini might actually connect with a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply someone that embodies Cancerian-like characteristics at that place where they're generating income. Or it could simply be somebody that figures prominently maybe in improving Gemini's self-worth and self-esteem, and helps them with resources and things of a monetary nature. So anyway, next thing up is, well, Mars will be in Capricorn as far as May goes from the 1st until the 16th. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, this could indicate perhaps more contentious and acrimonious situations, perhaps with a sexual partner, with somebody that you're in an intimate relationship with. It could be people that figure prominently maybe in your taxes, insurance. It could be over an inheritance. Also, too, this could manifest in putting a lot of consistent, disciplined, and serious energy into 8th house matters. It could be over taxes, insurance, inheritances, maybe making that major change or transformation as well, and in regeneration. Also, too, there could be more arguments perhaps over things connected maybe with alimony. it could be also too where there might even be, you know, some psychological warfare going on, and really where it's very consistent as well, considering and serious, considering we're talking about Capricorn energy. Now, in some isolated cases, you might be looking at someone with this that might be having surgery at this time, and it could be on something Capricorn related, such as something with the knees or the bones or the skin, perhaps. So anyway, well, next thing up is, as far as May goes, Mars will be in Aquarius from the 16th until the 31st. So the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Gemini, this could be a lot of selfless humanitarian energy, perhaps injected into matters with in-laws, grandchildren, foreigners, perhaps maybe people you know at a college, university, if you are going to college, something with higher education. It could be, too, where a lot of innovative and ingenious energy may be going into these matters, perhaps as well. It could be, if you're in college, it could be into a science project, perhaps, for example. And there might be really more at this time where the situation, perhaps with in-laws, grandchildren, even foreigners, people you may know in a foreign country while traveling abroad, they may be more contentious and acrimonious than usual, and there might be this really strong, unpredictable, unusual outbursts of anger, and maybe even angry at idiosyncratic behavior from 9th house people, such as grandchildren, in-laws, foreigners, people you may know at a university, perhaps someone you know through traveling abroad. It could be somebody that might be in your religious congregation. So anyway, well, next thing up is, well, Jupiter will still be in Scorpio. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted, and it will be retrograde. Now, anyway, as far as this goes for Gemini, well, remember, as I've talked about in previous videos, that Jupiter can be paradoxical. It is very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. So this could expand perhaps surreptitious and even nefarious activity connected at one's workplace or with people in one's daily routine, someone prominent in one's health life, such as the health and fitness place. This could be also, too, expanding perhaps Scorpio-like health-related issues, such as something with the pelvic, urinary tract, bladder. And it could be where the way this could manifest as well, a sex scandal could be unveiled at one's workplace, someone you know that's prominent in one's daily routine. Also, there could be strong luck going beyond the superficial and subterfuge in one's place of employment or work life as well. It could be, in some cases, maybe having luck, so to speak, going backwards, finding a missing pet that was very elusive and that maybe you find at this time. Also, too, keep in mind that this is retrograde. That could be about a review of a profound, deep philosophy that is associated with employment and health. So anyway, well, next thing up is, well, Saturn will be in Capricorn still. So the 8th houses will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. It will be retrograde during May. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about very strong restrictions and limitations that in some cases could be sexual. There might be some sexual inhibitions for Gemini at this time, which might cause Gemini to feel somewhat melancholy and despondent. This could be in retrograde. This could be about a strong review over serious responsibilities to matters connected with surgery, inheritance, taxes, insurance, and even some isolated cases, something of a psychological nature. This could actually be having to really own up to really being taking responsibility of the surgery as well. And it could be something Capricorn related, such as the knees, skin, and bones. It could be now, maybe the way it could manifest is taking care of a debilitated or sickly sexual partner or someone you're in an intimate relationship with. Older people might figure more prominently in making a major change or transformation. So anyway, Well, the next thing up as well, Uranus will be in Aries as far as May goes from the 1st until the 15th. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about perhaps dealing with unusual, unorthodox, and bizarre, perhaps friends, acquaintances, as well, perhaps even stepchildren if one does have them. At this time where friendships might figure more prominently in one's future. This could be about having original pioneering ideas that might impact one's future and tied in perhaps to one's aspirations and goals, such as perhaps innovation. Now also too, as far as aspirations and goals go, this could be something Uranus-like at this time, something connected with electronics, astrology, aerospace, an esoteric subject, and so anyway, or computers even. And really at this time too, the situation with friends might be more erratic and sporadic than usual, and there might be some maybe disruption to one's future plans at this time, or unusual behavior perhaps in connection with some people they may know in groups and organizations. So anyway, well, the next thing up as far as May goes, Uranus will be in Taurus from the 15th until the 31st. So the 12th house is well be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, this can manifest in some cases as having very unusual, persistent dreams. There might be using ingenuity to maybe formulating some new financial ideas, ingenious ways to make money in solitude and seclusion. Sometimes this could manifest in having disruptions in one's dreams at this time. It could also be dealing with some unpredictable, obstinate behavior from someone prominent in one's private life at this time, and maybe even dealing with some kind of unusual activity connected with hidden adversaries at this time, and really also to shocking behavior perhaps associated with one's aunts and uncles, because remember that the 12th house, it represents the dominant parents' siblings, so those are aunts and uncles. Anyway, people, well, the next thing up is Neptune will be in Pisces still, so the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Gemini, well, this could be, the way this could manifest is having really one's career, really a situation might be somewhat nebulous and unclear. One could be dealing with some deception and duplicity with someone prominent in one's career at this time, or could be connected with a dominant parent or authority figure. It might be duplicitous behavior connected with one or more, one of those people, I should say. In some cases too, this could be about where there might be a dissipation and dissolving of one's public image and reputation, sadly, and where maybe even a dominant parent or authority figure might be involved with some kind of drugs or alcohol at this time. Now, at the same time, the way this could manifest is where Gemini might pursue a career endeavor that might be something Neptune related, such as photography, chemistry, illusions such as special effects, something with the metaphysical, which could include astrology at this time, or just anything that could be Neptune related. So anyway, and really at this time too is where there can be some confusion at this time for Gemini over career aims at this time, and Gemini needs to be careful over deception, which might impact one's reputation and public image at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, well, Pluto will be in Capricorn, so the 8th house will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about, in some cases, I know you don't want me to, no one wants me to say the dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to do it anyway. This could be about perhaps an actual literal death that Gemini might experience that could be connected with a sexual partner or someone Gemini is in an intimate relationship with. This could be, in some cases, on a positive side, an obliteration or destruction of some kind of credit card debt as well. But that being said, there might be some upheavals and power struggles connected with matters with an inheritance at this time, with somebody Gemini is involved in an intimate relationship with. In some isolated cases, there could be perhaps destructive psychological issues, possible surgery, maybe on something Capricorn related, such as the knees, the bones, skin, reconstructive surgery. Since we're talking about Pluto and, I mean, transformation, this could be really, at the same time, this could be an opportunity for Gemini not just to maybe eradicate the credit card debt, as I stated before, if they're in that situation where they need to do it, but also maybe an issue connected with insurance or taxes as well at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up is that the North Node will be in Leo still, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, remember that when the North Node is in transit, it can be about what issues one may have to confront or address. And in this particular case, this could be about perhaps having to deal with a domineering, overbearing, arrogant, extravagant, bombastic even, maybe a sibling, a neighbor, somebody that was prominent in Gemini's early education. And it could also manifest in Gemini having to be, well, maybe more gregarious and extroverted with people in their own neighborhood at this time. There might be a time calling where Gemini might have to do that, even though Gemini is usually very sociable. It might be a time where Gemini might have to do that, even be even more outgoing in those areas. Now, also too, about where Gemini might have to be a little bit more extravagant, maybe in matters connected with local transportation, such as spending a little bit more money on matters pertaining to a vehicle if they do have one. Now, it's also pride and dignity in matters connected with communication, and perhaps getting recognition and being lauded, getting attention for writings and for what they do in terms of communication, and efforts perhaps for siblings and neighbors as well. So and also about where being Gemini could be directed at this time is about really doing third house related matters with a lot of that Leo-like confidence, self-assuredness, and fortitude, such as communications, dealings with siblings and neighbors, and really in even maybe in matters in some cases connected with somebody with Gemini's early education. So anyway, well, the next thing up is well, the Black Moon Lilith will be in Capricorn still, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, well, the way this could manifest is where there might be an unveiling of somebody that's showing really ruthless, tyrannical, overambitious, callous qualities. It could be somebody that Gemini might be in an intimate relationship with, a sexual relationship, or even maybe somebody that figures prominently with their taxes, such as their tax examiner, or it could be somebody that, that's involved in insurance or in really inheritance matter. Also, too, when you're talking about the Black Moon Lilith, it could be about where one what could actually put one in a strong state of fright and trepidation. For Gemini, perhaps this could be about relinquishing authority and matters connected with shared resources. Also, perhaps an unveiling or revelation of a rather depressing or limiting or restricting sexual life at this time, and where Gemini is not receiving exactly an overabundance of moral support from others. And remember too, when you're talking about the Black Moon Lilith, the way this can manifest is, it could be a revealing, or I should say an unveiling of a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant formidable adversary, or simply someone that embodies Capricorn-like characteristics. It could be somebody that Gemini might be in an intimate relationship with. It could be somebody that might be involved in inheritance with Gemini, such as maybe an executor of a will, or somebody that just might be in like an 8th house type profession, such as an astrologer or a psychologist, something like that. So anyway, well, last but not least, Chiron will be in Aries, so the 11th house will be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. So at this time for Gemini, this could be about dealing with strong emotional wounds and suffering, perhaps connected with contentious and acrimonious situations with friends, acquaintances at this time. It could be even people that Gemini is in some kind of group or organization with. It could be about going through some suffering and strong repercussions connected with unnecessary combative and truculent behavior with friendships, and maybe somehow some arguments with them might impact Gemini's future to some degree. And also the way this could manifest is that Gemini might go through some emotional suffering really due to maybe lack of initiative and enterprise as far as aspirations and goals go at this time, and also maybe inability to confront their friends and acquaintances on matters they need to, and perhaps even standing up for them, and it might cause some kind of feelings of unworthiness to Gemini as a friend, for example. So anyway, but keep in mind that Chiron is the wounded healer, and if anyone, the areas that Gemini might be having difficulty with in connection with Chiron and Aries in the 11th house, they could help others out, perhaps dealing with comparable situations and problems, in doing so with a lot of that Aries outspokenness, aggressiveness, assertiveness, courage, and fortitude and enterprise. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Gemini May 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I am going to be sharing my thoughts on the astrological community. So anyway, people, 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.